It only took one sentence to expose their racism, and one file to end their power. Elias stood in the center of the courtroom, surrounded by people waiting to watch him fail. Judge Fallain leaned forward and spoke with a cold smile. "Mr. Carter, people like you should stay quiet." Kagiso burst out laughing. "Yeah, let the black kid sit down. He's out of his depth." The room echoed with quiet agreement. But then Elias placed a USB drive on the evidence table. The courtroom screen lit up. $1,500,000,000, laundering route identified. Gasps filled the room. The people they mocked. The man they dismissed. Was the one holding the key to destroying them. And he was done staying quiet. The marble floors of the Gauteng High Court glowed under the morning sun as Elias Carter, a quiet black data analyst for the Justice Department, walked in carrying a slim folder pressed tightly to his chest. He'd spent 3 months secretly tracing a suspicious pattern of financial transfers, money funneled through 27 shell companies, spread across 9 offshore accounts, all circling back to 2 names he never expected. Judge Portia Fallain and her son, Kagiso. The numbers didn't lie. $1.5 billion laundered over 6 years. But as Elias submitted his findings to the review panel, they dismissed him without reading a single page. "Judge Fallain is a national asset," a senior officer whispered sharply. "You're a junior black analyst. Don't overstep." Elias walked out with a bitter truth. The system wasn't built to believe people like him, especially when the accused wore a robe. That afternoon, Elias was unexpectedly summoned to courtroom 4B. When he entered, he froze. Judge Fallain sat at the bench, robes crisp, eyes cold. Her son Kagiso, dressed in an expensive suit paid for by stolen money, leaned casually against the prosecutor's table. Kagiso smirked first. "So this is the accountant who thinks he uncovered a billion-dollar conspiracy?" The gallery snickered. Judge Fallain adjusted her glasses and spoke loudly enough for everyone to hear. "Mr. Carter, your ambition is admirable. But perhaps you should focus on tasks more suitable to your level." Her emphasis on "your level" made the insult clear. Whispers rippled through the room. "He's out of his league. A black analyst going after a high court judge. Impossible. He'll lose his job by tomorrow." Kagiso leaned toward him with a mocking grin. "You should thank us. At least now you know where you stand." Elias's hands trembled, not from fear, but from the weight of what he carried. He wasn't here by accident. Someone anonymous had scheduled him as a witness. And the truth was about to enter the room. The courtroom doors opened. A young prosecutor stepped in, holding a court-sealed laptop. "Your Honor," she said firmly, "we are entering new evidence into the record." Before Judge Fallain could object, the courtroom screen flickered to life. A spreadsheet appeared. 27 fake charities. 9 offshore accounts. $1,500,000,000 in circular transfers, all with Kagiso and Judge Fallain as beneficiaries. Gasps filled the room. Kagiso's smirk vanished. Judge Fallain stood up abruptly. "Turn that off. This evidence was not authorized." The prosecutor didn't blink. "Your Honor, the author of this investigation is standing in this room. And he is now our key witness." Spotlights turned to Elias. This time, he didn't tremble. He stepped forward and spoke clearly. "Every transaction. Every shell company. Every offshore route. I traced them all. And your signatures are on every approval." The room erupted, reporters scribbled furiously, officers whispered urgently into radios. Judge Fallain sank into her chair, stunned. For the first time, she wasn't the hunter. Within minutes, deputy sheriffs entered the courtroom. Kagiso tried to run but was stopped instantly. Judge Fallain whispered through clenched teeth. "You don't know what you're doing, Carter. I can still." Elias cut her off. "No, Your Honor. You can't. $1.5 billion speaks louder than titles. The prosecutor read out loud. Money laundering. Fraud. Abuse of judicial power. Conspiracy. Obstruction of justice. The gallery, once laughing at Elias, now stared at him with awe. As Judge Faulain and her son were handcuffed and escorted out, Kagiso looked back at Elias with disbelief. How did you beat us? Elias answered softly. Because the truth doesn't care about who you are, only about what you've done. Outside the courthouse, cameras flashed. Reporters crowded him. For the first time, Elias wasn't invisible. He was the man who took down a $1.5 billion empire weaponized by a corrupt judge and her arrogant son. And the world finally listened.